How well do you know that feeling when you do everything you're supposed to do? You try to do your best, but things just seem to go all over the place and nothing seems to be in control. And we both know very well the reaction is, I have to control even more, because the more I control the input, the more and more predictable, the more measurable is going to be the output. And this is a normal reaction. It is our human behavior. We freak out and we start to think that something is messing up with you or someone is messing up with you, because just it can't be the way it is. Now, what if I told you that you are exactly where you're supposed to be and everything is happening right at the perfect time? And before you freak out saying, what are you talking about? I've got to control everything. But probably that is exactly the reason which holds us back. Because let me ask you something. When you try to do something new, to implement a new strategy in your business or in your relationship, you've got to test it out and see if it works or not. But if you never implement it, you will never know if this is a good idea or not. So there is some time required in order to know if it works or not. But if we don't do it, we don't implement it, we play these games in our head, we try to predict everything. If I do this, then this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen. And sometimes it looks like strategic thinking, but very often it's just a cluster flip of things and our mania to control everything. And this is what I want to challenge you today, that what if our desire to measure everything and to keep everybody in control and to try to just be as precise as possible with everything, that is holding us back and doesn't allow us to move to the next stage so that we can do it, we can implement it and grow. But there's a conflict. From one hand, there are things which we have to control: our behavior, our mission, our vision, the strategy, the goals, the time. But on the other hand, there are some things which require some time. It's like mixing water and fire. And it's not an easy task. Because when we freak out, we want to control everything. Why? Because we really want to get what we want to get. So, I'm not an expert to tell you how life works and what you're supposed to do, when you're not supposed to do, what's right, what's wrong. Far from me that. But it just happened that I'm obsessed with human behavior and I'm also obsessed with helping people. So I've discovered 3 things which really require our effort and intention to control, and we fail to do that. And because of that, we are all over the place. We want to control everything but these 3 things. So these 3 things saved my ass multiple times, and it helped other people to save their day. So it might help you to save you from this mess of where you're every day on high adrenaline, a little bit of fear, a little bit of high expectation and feeling of failure, that you're failing at accomplishing what you want to accomplish, so that you can really start to make the distinction between what requires your focus and your intentional work, so that you have to control them, and what are the things which you just have to let them go and to happen the way they are supposed to happen, which actually helps us to figure out what we have to control. So this is what we're going to focus on today. 3 aspects which really require our focus, which needs to be in control. So probably you're avoiding it because it's a little bit unpleasant. It requires a little bit of reflection. It requires a little bit of vulnerability, so that you can look within yourself and say, wow, I should have done this far time ago and I didn't, but lucky day, today we're going to do that. So let's jump in. Now, if you take value from these videos, I want to invite you to click the subscribe button. That will help our channel to grow, to bring more value, and share this video with someone that you know and care about, and you really think that they deserve a little bit of support, a little bit of help, so that they can move forward without staying stuck in that stage of and that fatal desire to control everything. All right, so the first thing, I call it the speeding through fog. So speeding through fog. So now try to imagine this feeling of you're driving, it's foggy out there, and imagine you want to get out of that fog. And what do? Imagine if you just started to accelerate even more, even faster. Would that be a great idea? Probably not, right? We actually slow down. So what we actually want is that the fog lifts up so that we can see clearly. Well, that's what we're going to do here. It's about clarity. Sometimes we didn't get clear about what specifically I want to achieve. Where am I specifically right now, so that I can know what exactly am I supposed to do so that I can get what I want to get, right? So sometimes we just haven't invested enough time into figuring out what do we actually want to achieve, what is pushing us forward, and what is the situation with the whole engine, with the whole situation. Now, if you drive a car and if perhaps you see a red lamp which is telling you something, the computer is informing you something, you don't just say, I'll just push forward. You want to know what's going on, what's behind that red lamp, what's the information. If you see the smoke just coming out of under the hood, you don't just say, I'm just going to accelerate even more. You want to look under it and say, hey, probably requires my attention. So the desire to speed up, very often, it is like that smoke which comes out under the hood, or is that like that red lamp which tells us speed up, speed up, speed up. But a red lamp, it requires our attention. So what is under the hood? Under the hood, we have drives. What's driving us? Here are the priorities, or drives, imagine us maybe the engine with the fuel. Think what comes easy for you. Then there are the priorities. We're going to go a bit into detail. The third one is the mission. What is the mission you're on? And what is the vision which you want to, what's the picture you see when you try to accelerate or to push forward? Now, what are the drives? Usually what mostly pushes us to go forward are our beliefs and our values. When you really care about something, that's pushing you forward. Or when you have a belief that I deserve something, or this ain't right, this ain't wrong, I gotta adjust it, and you want to see it happen in your life, that's driving you forward. Now, that is a very powerful engine, is a very powerful fuel. But if it's not directed, if the steering wheel is not directing the direction, you might hit a tree or just get out of the street. So you have to know what's pushing you forward. Why is this so important? Because when we want to control, sometimes we have the priorities, which are, we have to know what's less important, which is more important, and what are our non-negotiables. These are the priorities. So if sometimes we know what's very important for ourselves, and if we don't manage the drives, we might be very focused on the importance, but it is important for you, but it's in front of you. It is not connected to why do you want to get what you want to get. What is driving you towards that desired outcome, which is in the vision? If you could look just within yourself and figure out, hey, I might be very focused on a priority or on something which is non-negotiable in my business. It's just unacceptable that in 3 months I might be here with and we are stressed out because some of these non-negotiables, or we might be afraid of some things which are less important. We might be afraid that they are going to require some time, some investment, and we forget about what's pushing us forward. And if you're not clear about what's pushing you forward, then what is that leads to? It leads to a little bit of confusion. And when there's confusion, we desire clarity. And when there is no clarity, we want to start to control everything. Now, each of us might be extremely focused or obsessed with something from these four domains. Here are the goals and the actions. This is the mission. So let's jump also to the fourth one. This is the dream. What are you dreaming about? What do you want to achieve? What is your desired outcome? If perhaps you are very focused on the vision, but you haven't clear, hey, what are my drives? What are my priorities? So you have to get clear, look, I want to achieve and this and that, and you want to build maybe a factory for your business and your presence on social media. You have some priorities there, but some of them needs to be organized. What's more important, what's less important? Because if you have all the priorities are all on one degree of intensity, you find yourself that all the drives which are pushing you forward are not enough. And then you start to think that something is wrong. Something is, I'm not doing something right. But just because we want to achieve many things, we have to know why do we want to achieve those things. What are the priorities? What is more important? What's less important? These are the things which require lots of attention, so that you can make sure that you know what's less important. Everything is important, but something is less important. So we're not going to go through all these details. I'm just showing to you so that you can take a pen and a paper, so that you can start answering what are my goals in 2 months, in 3 months, in 4 months specifically, and what are the actions required for those goals, and what is the vision? Because sometimes we have this goal and we have, like, I want to achieve not something, you don't see what you want to achieve, but you started to work intensively on something, and it feels like that if I don't achieve it, it's a failure again. And then what do? It's foggy, but we want to speed up. And it's a little bit, I'm going to challenge you a little bit, it might trigger a reaction or something. We sometimes are so arrogant at expecting everything the way we desire things to happen. But we don't invest a minimum time, just a little bit of time, to understand, why do I want it? How do I want it to happen? Why do I want to happen now? What's more important? What's less important? What are the non-negotiables? What are, like, it's a must? And what are the goals? Have I put in front of myself the goal? Have I decided for myself, like, this is exactly what I want to achieve in a half a year or in a year? So we don't invest time into getting the clarity, and it feels like we are through the fog, and we freak out, and we want to control everybody, and we start to snap at other people, at ourselves. We start to get angry, and we might spend years in this state of fogginess and anger and frustration, and still we avoid to invest those 10 minutes to get clear on what's driving me, what are the priorities, what's more important than something else, what are the goals and the actions which I'm choosing as a mission for myself. So I'm going to dedicate and invest time so that I can get to the fourth one, which is the vision, the dream outcome. So I really want to invite you today to be honest with yourself and say, I have this dream which is burning in my head, and I have this picture of my future, and I want to be there, and I'm just busy morning to night. But are you sure you have decided for yourself what are the goals, what's important, what maybe needs or requires a little bit of compromise from your side, and have you made sure that this is aligned with your beliefs and with your values? Because if this clarity lacks, the feeling is that you're constantly pushing through fog. And when you push through fog, a defensive reaction is to speed up so that we can get through it. True, sometimes that might be an exception to just keep doing what you're doing, focus on it. But again, if you want to focus, then you have to know what you want to be focused on. All right, good. So this is the first thing which you can focus, which you can control. And I'm a control maniac. Let me tell you, I'm obsessed with control. I want to know how it's going to happen, and I want to outsmart myself and to make sure that I can make the smartest decision I can make. And when I come to that decision, I say, yeah, but can I outsmart myself even a little bit more? We can't, because then we cross the line and we go into the wishful thinking, and we start to think we're smarter than we actually are, and we don't build the foundation of our psyche, of our soul. We don't get the clarity of what's at the foundation of everything I do, so that you can build your walls of your construction on a clear foundation. So this is my invitation for you. Stop this video if you feel that desire and get clear. What are the drives? What are the priorities? What's the mission? And what is the vision? In the description below, there is a link you can click and access right now. So I decided to offer my help for those which want to, which are ready to look within, so that they can get a little bit of help of how can I organize these 4 domains, so that I can know what do I have to focus on and what I can control and what actually seems that I can control, but you really can, so that you don't stay in that state of fogginess and this desire to control everything, so that you can become strategic, creative, and move forward. All right, good. Let's move forward. The